back to my YouTube channel. I'm Sakura Sketches, and today I'm going to be drawing a bunch of viewer OCs. However, there are a lot of mishaps that occur, and things didn't go quite the way I expected, although I struggled a lot, stayed to the end to see how the art turns out. So now let's reveal the first OC I'm going to be drawing, named Cosette. I'm going to be drawing her as a chibi, but chibis aren't exactly what I'm best at drawing. I didn't know what pose to make her in either. First I had this one, but I ended up switching to this because I felt like it looks a lot better and cuter. So now let's switch on to digital art so I can finish up this picture. So for tracing over the sketch, I decided to go with this kind of pencil digitally that's like, it has a little bit of a gritty texture because I felt like it made it look a lot cuter for some reason, and I just really liked the effect that it gave. Also, sorry if I say cute a million times, I do not have a very creative vocabulary. Besides the original sketch of the chibi though, I didn't have a whole lot of trouble tracing it over. The thing about chibis that I always find hard is I can never get the right proportions for them. There's so many different styles of how to like have the proportions for chibi bodies, and I've never found one that feels right for me. Normally for chibis, I just kind of make their bodies very small and I give them really big eyes, but this time I decided to push things a lot more, and I really hope that I'm on the path to making chibis better because honestly I've just never been very confident in the way that I draw them. The main thing I changed here is I made her head really big. And at this point I was coloring, which I was having a good bit of fun with. I really like this character's design. Cosette is just so cute. The person that designed her, I'll put a link to their account in the description. They're actually on Scratch and I don't think they have a YouTube channel, and I'm not really sure how to say their username, so you can check the description for them. But yeah, they make really good art and I just love the design of this character. I realized that I did just casually mention Scratch, and if you don't know what it is, it's an online coding website, but some people do post art there, including me and my sister who happened to be hosting a contest. And as a prize for the winners, we were going to draw their OCs, so this is actually one of the winners of the contest. This is 3rd place. For reference, this is a picture that me and my sister made that everybody had to redraw. The black-haired one is my OC Willow, and the green-haired one is my sister's OC Matcha. And so here is the redrawing of the person who ended up getting 3rd place. I feel like it just looks so cute. I love it. It has like an almost Y2K feel, and me and my sister just both really loved it, so it ended up getting 3rd place. The prizes are going to go up from here, so next I'm going to draw the prize for 2nd place until finally I do the prize for 1st place. But for now I am still working on the 3rd place drawing, and at this point I was having a lot of fun with it. For shading, I chose the wet watercolor brush because I feel like it always gives a nice soft look, and I just really like the way that everything blends together. For the colors I used for shading, I tried to be creative with them and choose kind of bright ones. Like I used this red for coloring the like white because I felt like I needed to do something that kind of standed out. Since I'm doing a chibi, it's more simple, so I knew that the few colors that I used for shading had to be very interesting to make the whole picture look even better. I still could work a little bit more on knowing which colors to use for shading. I'd really like to practice that some more because sometimes I just kind of guess. Oh, and for the shines in the hair, originally I had made it this green color, but I didn't really like how that looked, so I decided to hue shift it and change it to pink, and I liked that a lot better, so I ended up going with that because I just feel like it makes the hair look a lot more alive. I don't know why, but I feel like that color was just a really good choice. I was doing a few more effects until moving on to the background, which I was very unsure of what to do when I do get to the background, so you'll see that I just kind of put some random stuff, and I think it looks nice though. I used these gold accents and I did this kind of teal color for the background because I felt like it complemented her pretty well. If you like drawing chibis or have any tips for me, I'd really love to hear them in the comments because although I did try my best, and honestly I am happy with how this picture turned out, I feel like I could still learn more about how to draw chibis, and I really like to improve my skills. At this point though, I was pretty much done this picture. I just added a few sparkles, and I'm gonna add a little watermark of my username like I always do to my drawings, and this little picture of Cosette is gonna be complete. She was super fun to draw, so I'm really happy that I was able to make this picture. Now let's move on to the 2nd place drawing. So this character is named Franklin, and let's just say that I was very intimidated to start drawing him. But nonetheless, here's the beginnings of my illustration. So for the 2nd place prize, instead of doing a chibi, I just kind of do a less complicated regular person. Like I didn't draw any hands, and the background isn't too fancy. I also spend less time on it. I usually spend about an hour and a half instead of the usual 2 hours and a half on this illustration, but somehow I was able to finish this really fast. I bet you are wondering just why I was so nervous to draw this character. Well, the reason is he has facial hair. And don't get me wrong, it's not like facial hair is bad. Don't feel bad if you have facial hair or have OCs with facial hair. It's just simply that I don't know how to draw it, and I was very nervous because I've really never drawn it before. Unless they're adult characters, but it was particularly hard because he's only 17 years old, so I had to still make him look young, and I was worried that the facial hair would make him look way too old. I mean, I know young people can have facial hair, but in anime, usually they don't unless they're older. Usually it's like old men or sometimes middle-aged guys that are kind of unkept, so doing this, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to continue making him look the right age. So because I was nervous about it, I decided to leave it for the very last thing and just do the whole picture without his facial hair so I could know how it looked and that wouldn't throw me off. Overall, his design is cute. I like that he doesn't have a whole lot of colors because I feel like the more simple color palette made it really easy for me to work with and is part of the reason why I was able to finish it so fast. The owner of this OC is named Kitty Nikkiton. She made a Scratch account to enter this contest, but I actually originally knew her as a YouTuber. She's really sweet and I absolutely love her videos. I'd really recommend them because, to be honest, she's so creative, she's so good at designing characters, and overall her videos are just so fun and relaxing and sweet. I've actually made her fan art before of her characters Spook and Dove, but that video had only been a short, and I've actually been wanting for a while to have a full-length video where I could talk about her channel because, I don't know, I like to recommend some artists to you guys, and she's someone I definitely think you should check out. As you know, she ended up winning second place in our contest, and this is the illustration that she made. I think it is way too adorable. I mean, both of them look like dolls, and I love the colors she used. It's just something that I really enjoy looking at. It's a really great entry. So back to my illustration. Right now I'm working on shading his hair, which wasn't too complicated. His hair is pretty simple, so I was happy about that. It was a little bit hard to originally draw the hair because the way she drew him, I didn't really know exactly how to do that in my style, but I hope I did okay. I felt like the hair needed a little bit more of darker shading too, so I added that, and I think that definitely made the whole thing look a little bit better. It brought it together more. When suggesting who we should draw for her prize, Kitty Nikkiton ended up mentioning that maybe Franklin could be themed with some sort of night background, and when I thought of that, I came up with an idea. It seems kind of random, but for some reason, I really wanted this certain thing, and you're gonna see it in a moment when I start on the background. Okay, so now that I am starting on the background, I wonder if you can guess what it's gonna be. It's very simple, obviously, since I couldn't do anything too fancy, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to have him surrounded by fireflies for some reason. I thought it would be so pretty, and I always really like that effect in drawing, so I wanted to include that myself. However, I was having a lot of trouble and couldn't figure out how to make them look like fireflies and not just like yellow specks. I tried to look up reference pictures, but nothing was helping too much. Because I didn't really like how they were turning out, I decided to add more effects to the background so that they wouldn't be too obvious and they wouldn't bother me anymore, and it just kind of adds extra texture to the background, and maybe there are still fireflies, but they're just not the main focus. For some reason, after I found this bubble brush, I decided to keep it. Usually I don't keep brushes so obviously, but I felt like the bubbles looked really nice. Now I can't wait any longer, I had to add his facial hair. I don't know why I decided to be so dramatic there, but there you go, I did add the facial hair, but before I reveal that, I need to do the final illustration for this video. So here is Orchid, and she is who I'm gonna be drawing. I was really in love with her colors, so I was excited to start this. I thought of the idea of having her holding ice cream because she reminded me of cotton candy ice cream, but this first one turned out so bad. The paper was pretty much ripping, and I just couldn't get the hand to look good at all. Because of all the issues I ran into, I had to end up scrapping this, and I did this illustration instead. It wasn't perfect, but I felt like it looked a lot better, and you know, I can work with this. So this prize, of course, is for first place, and that means it has to be the most complicated. So I'm gonna give it a background, I'm gonna draw her hands, and overall just spend the most time on this illustration out of them all for this video. I'll put a link to the account of the creator of this OC in the description, but her name is Scratch Evie. I've actually drawn her OCs before, once she was hosting a DMC and I decided to enter. This is a drawing I made. It was forever ago, so you guys probably don't remember, but yeah, this is not my first time drawing one of her OCs. Oh, I forgot, I actually did another prize for her before. She once placed third place, and I had done the illustration for that, but I never posted on YouTube, so yeah. It's really old. But for this picture, for whatever reason, I kept running into so many issues. Her face just kept not looking right, and overall, the picture, there were just so many things I didn't like about it, and I had to keep changing it and editing it until I finally liked how it looked. I made her head smaller because I felt like originally I made it a little bit too big, and I wanted to change her arm because I didn't like how it looked in the original sketch. I finally got on to coloring, which I was excited for. I still had to change things after this, but adding the colors really made me like the picture a lot better. One of the main things I wasn't liking was her skirt. The way I had originally drawn it, I feel like it looks nothing like a ruffly skirt at all. For some reason, they're always really hard for me to draw. I've never really mastered doing clothing folds, and ruffling skirts is basically one of the hardest things for me. So yeah, I had a lot of trouble, and I'm still not sure about how it looks in the end, but I did do my best, and I think it's okay, it's passable, but I could definitely work on it because I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of room to improve there. And right here I was working on the eyes, which I had fun with. They weren't too hard, and I really like purple eyes, so yeah, they were really adorable. It was a little bit hard making the shines in the right place, but it wasn't too much of an issue, and I was able to make it work out fairly quickly. I took forever to remember to shade the ice cream cone for some reason. I left it not colored for a while, but here I finally got to it. Though I didn't do the final shading until later because, again, I was just lazy and I was distracted by other things in the illustration. I kept running into issues. It just wasn't on the top of my priority list because I knew I could make the ice cream cone look good. That wasn't going to be too hard. Though I do say that, I feel like it would be really fun sometime to study drawing different foods because I've never really done that, and I feel like it would be really fun to be able to draw super realistic, really nice looking foods, right? Speaking of food, recently me and my sister and mom made curry for the first time. It was like a vegetable curry, and it was supposed to be not very spicy, but I wasn't reading the recipe, my sister was, and she was telling us all what to do. Sometimes she likes to do that because she just likes to read the recipes. She had gotten all the ingredients out for me beforehand, so I wouldn't have to worry about it, and she left the room just telling me to do exactly what the recipe says, so I did, but the thing is, we only had spicy curry powder, and I put in 2 tablespoons, and so it ended up really spicy. It still looked beautiful, and my mom and brother liked it, but for me and my sister, it was just too spicy, so hopefully we can make it again, but with mild curry powder instead of the super spicy one. I mean, I say super spicy, but to be honest, it wasn't that bad. I just have a very, very poor spice tolerance, and I was still able to eat it, just that, it was too spicy and I didn't really want to eat it, you know? Oh, so by the way, the first place illustration is really, really beautiful, and I guess I should reveal it now. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, it is just so pretty. She drew both characters so well. She's so good at shading and obviously a really good artist, and I don't know, something about the picture is just so gorgeous. I really love it. So now at this point in the drawing, I'm gonna start in the background, and I wanted to make her kind of in a city, but I was a little bit worried because I could not make it look good for a while. I decided to use the skills that I had gotten from this drawing I did a while ago of Serena. It was based on a Pokemon card and had a background in the background. I mean a town in the background, and so I tried to copy that, but I ended up not liking how the buildings look, so I just did some trees, and I really liked that look a lot more. Although it is a bit silly that I made this whole picture based on cotton candy ice cream just because it's my favorite food, I do think it matches really well and looks very pretty. I'm very happy with the result. And now, here we are! Here are all the finished pictures! I had so much fun with this video, and I definitely think that the illustrations I made look really, really good. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, I'll see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching the whole way. Have a great day, and with that, bye for now!